Hey, so today I'm going to do something a little bit different. Typically I give out like my personal experience as to what it's like being an environmental engineer. But today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do a reaction video to like these environmental breakthrough technologies. I think it'd be really cool just because like I am very interested in like environmental technology. You know, I've always been like a nerd about this. So if you're watching this too, I mean like you're a nerd too. But overall, I want to give like my 2 cents on like what I think is right or wrong, or you know, just like my comments on these things. That way you can have like some sort of understanding to see whether or not this like technology is really cool or like practical. But like disclaimer, I'm not really a reactive type of person. My emotions are pretty controlled. I might be pretty bland in the most part. I'm a pretty controlled guy, so you're not going to see like an explosion of emotions when I'm reacting to the video. So with that being said, let's get into the video. I don't even know how I'm gonna like edit this or all this stuff, but I'm just interested in seeing this video. I've never watched it before. Alright, so the video I'm watching is Norway's wireless charging roads. And I know some of this technology. I know like there's these solar roadways that are trying to come up, so like I'm not so shocked or surprised to find out about this. But again, we'll see how it goes.
As electric vehicles become more and more prominent on our roads and charging capacity more and more of an issue, Norway has come up with a clever, broad-view solution for its fleet of taxis called Electricity. In the future, it might take in far more vehicles too. The Nordic country has already committed to requiring all new cars sold from 2025 onwards are electric.
So the cool thing about Europe is that most of Europe is like pretty advanced already. They are already in the right step towards like shifting from fossil fuels to electric vehicles. And I know most of like Switzerland and Norway, they are way above like all of the United States and all the other countries pretty much, because they're like really shifting towards getting away from fossil fuels. And that's what I like about, you know, Norway and like those European countries.
Intends to build an entirely emission-free taxi service to assist in its lofty aims. With charging time an efficiency limiting factor for electric commercial vehicles in particular, they'll be doing this by charging the cabs wirelessly through the taxi rank they sit on as the taxis wait to be hired.
So far it seems like it's just based off of taxis. I know they're trying to like slowly shift this into their country, but I don't think that you should probably have like more personal vehicles rather than taxis. Again, I know that they're trying to shift it slowly, but I feel that taxis are maybe a small industry that it won't make too much of a difference.
This saves in several ways. No need to hunt out an available charger, no need to wait separately for a charge and to be hired, and no need to plug in or unplug when a fare arrives, all in which to save precious time in which to earn. In the industry, after all, time is money. The charging will take place through a process called induction.
I remember induction. Reminds me of physics. I was horrible in physics, but the technology is already there.
To facilitate the in-place charging plates are to be installed under the road where the taxis will park up, and a receiver located in each taxi. This will allow for charging at up to 75 kilowatts entirely without cables. Induction charging works through the principle of electromagnetic induction, whereby an electric charge sent through a thick coil of wire is used to generate an electric current, the force of which in turn generates an electric current in a second coil some distance away.
If you were ever really good with physics, you probably understand all what he's talking about.
The process does require that the device to be charged is relatively near to the coil, and so the process is sometimes called near-field charging. As it is not absolutely precise like the connection of a cable, however, this is relatively simple to set up between a taxi and a static location, so long as the positioning of the vehicle is relatively accurate, something that can be easily achieved through normal parking. Naturally, such a process would be of limited green benefit unless the electricity being supplied to the taxis was already from a green source. Electric cars can be much greener than their petrol equivalent, but only where care is taken that the electrical source is better for the environment than the petrol it's replacing. Fortunately, Norway has that covered too, with the country's ever-improving mix of hydro and wind energy one of the greenest energy supplies in any country in the world.
Yeah, so what he just said pretty much reinforces the fact that I've already mentioned earlier. It's the fact that Norway, specifically, or for the most part most of Europe, are really shifting towards like renewable energy, and they're, you know, much better at us than like making actual change.
As well as the world's highest rate of electric vehicle ownership. At the heart of the program is a Finnish clean energy company, Fortum, through their Charge and Drive program. The company are long-time collaborators with Norway's taxi industry, with a particular focus on the ease of infrastructure, and will be heavily involved in the setup of the earliest parts of this project. Major car firms like Jaguar and Land Rover are also stepping up to the plate.
Okay, Jaguar and Land Rover, like these are pretty high-end expensive cars. If you want to shift the focus and like get a lot of people on board, like focus it towards people who can't afford Jaguars and like Land Rovers. These cars are expensive.
The very first step is expected to be active in 2023 and will involve the installation of charging stations at the taxi rank outside the main station in capital city Oslo. The process is relatively slow, as beyond the digging up of the road for installation outside the main station, it also requires all the taxis are set up for charging.
No, so that's the hard part. It's because you've already had like a system beforehand, like you already had just road, but now you have to like dig up the road just to install this. It's hard because you have to readjust and like break down what you've already built and then build a new one. Like it's not starting from scratch. It's just much easier to start from scratch because you have nothing to work with. But because you've already had like an old system, people normally say like, you know, don't fix what isn't broken.
Taxis will be able to drive up to the charger and a wireless charging session will automatically start, Annika Hoffner, head of the project, said. This allows the taxis to charge in a place where they would anyway be waiting for new customers. The difference is that they won't be emitting exhaust while waiting. Instead, they will be receiving renewable energy to charge the taxi's battery. Whilst this is simply an early step, Norway is a logical place to take such a step towards a wider network. As well as its broadly green approach to energy, the Nordic country also has one of the strongest markets for electric vehicles in the world. In the long term, though, there could be far wider applications to this kind of technology. There's already research taking place into how to charge cars as they travel. While putting a charging coil in a single location or several single locations, such as in the taxi ranks, is an affordable option, doing the same down an entire street for on-the-move charging is far more challenging.
That's what I meant before. So you'd have like a whole road that was just like charging idle cars, or maybe while they're driving, they're charging cars while they're driving too, which is really cool. But you have to like destroy the road, and you have to basically have cars that are ready and have this technology. So not only do you have to change the road, but you got to change the cars too.
In terms of both cost and expanding the technology beyond a single industry. That said, Renault began looking at the idea way back in 2012, creating a route on the outskirts of Paris that enabled the ongoing charging of two of their Kangol electric vehicles as they drove. While the main aim is a kind of grazing charging, adding to the battery between larger charges, this could, in theory, allow indefinite driving, especially perhaps in combination with self-driving car technology. In practice, the bigger benefits are on the green energy side, as well as potentially allowing both greater ranges and smaller batteries in future electric cars. The huge infrastructure challenges do mean its everyday use is not on the immediate horizon.
Pretty much sums up what I just said already. You have to destroy so much just to get this going. I wonder how much the cost will be. Hopefully he mentions that.
For now, Norway and its taxi industry might just be the perfect testing ground. The country already has the highest rate of electric vehicles in the world, and its relatively small population allows for changes like this to be made fairly quickly and unobtrusively.
So that's the good thing about Norway. It's a pretty small country by itself, so implementing change like this will not cost so much, and it's not so difficult because it's already pretty small.
Also, Norway is not the home of a single automotive company likely to lobby against the changes, and so is free to put in place all kinds of benefits for switching to electric without any excessive lobbying or economic pressure.
Oh, that's so much better here. That's so much better than in America. You have so many big American companies that don't want to shift because money, basically.
Benefits for electric car use so far have included free or discounted road tolls, parking and charging points, and a tax exemption. The number of purchased new cars that are electric is closing in on half of all new vehicles in the country, so the process is well underway.
Yeah, so he didn't mention the cost. I would have loved to see how much it would cost to implement this small little project, just because one is that Norway is pretty small, so it can definitely happen. But it didn't say the cost, even though Norway itself is pretty small, so I'm guessing the cost will still be significant, but small relative to implementing this in America. I do like where it's going because it's a step in the right direction. It's just going to be hard to implement just because infrastructure is already there. But then it's easier than America because we have many people who are against it, mostly because of the cost, and also because we already also have gas stations and roads that are already built. So why have that, or why pay the extra cost to change something when it's not broken yet? So I understand where they're coming from. I can see why they're so difficult to try to convince. I can see that if they have this with like solar panel roadways or like solar panels for like parking structures or anything like that, or maybe even solar panel cars, like this would be, you know, very good, since they're all mostly electric vehicles already inside that country, that like they can make this whole country like all electric vehicle and run like indefinitely. So overall, I do like where this technology is going. I just don't know how feasible it would be. So far, it's a good concept. I don't think they're actually doing it yet. He didn't mention in the video. He didn't say the cost in the video, so I don't know how much it would cost, nor if it's actually feasible. But we'll see in the future. Because like Norway can do it, then I want to see if it's possible for them. Then it could maybe eventually be possible for like us, but maybe in like small states or states that actually have this sort of technology and like willingness to do it. It's definitely not going to be happening all over like America. It's going to be happening in like specific cities. Alright, so if you liked this video and you liked the technology, then just, you know, send me more technology related videos. I want to see and react to these, because I think it's really cool, and how like other countries are shifting their technologies and like being really innovative towards like, you know, stepping in the right direction and like helping the environment. Okay, that's all I have for now. Goodbye.